UBC, inspiring Uganda.
My name is Stephen Langa, and I'm privileged to be the Executive Director of Family Life Network. And I'm glad to share with you the journey of Family Life Network, which started way back in 2002. It began when we were just a few of us who had a burden for our society, especially in terms of our families and our morality. And therefore, in 2002, we began this Ugandan-based organization whose vision is to work towards the restoration of family values and morals in our society. I'm sure you can imagine how much work we have. But way then, things were not as bad as they are now. And so you can imagine how much work we have and how much the work that we do is really needed. So our mission was to see that we strengthen families and that we strengthen the morals of our society. Because we realize that you can't build a society, you can't build a nation without values, morals, and character. Those are things that are very, very, very important. People usually pay little attention on them, and yet they are the things that can determine whether one succeeds or not, whether a family succeeds or not, whether a nation succeeds or not. In fact, there is a story that is said of the Chinese. It is said that they wanted to live in safety, and so what they did was to build the Great China Wall, which is a known feature in the world. Hundreds, actually, 1,000+ kilometers. And it was very tall, very high, it was very wide, and they figured, well, since it is very high, nobody can climb it, it's very wide, nobody can punch a hole in it. So they thought, yes, we are now going to build in safety. However, within the first 100 years, they were attacked by the enemy 3 times. And in all those instances, the enemy did not need to climb the wall or punch a hole in the wall. All the enemy did was came to the watchmen and bribed them. Not once, not twice, but 3 times. So the moral of that story is that before building anything else, you must build values, morals, and character. Before you build your home, before you build your company, before you build your marriage, before you build your nation, you need values, morals, character. So that's what Family Life Network embarked on doing. And so we began in a small way. We began by having programs that would go to schools and share with the young people and envision them and tell them that young people, you can live with character. You don't have to follow what everybody does, but you can be a new generation that can live with values, morals, and character. So we started doing that in schools, 1 school, 2 schools, and so on. So within no time, the school program really expanded, and we were able to reach schools. There was a time we had volunteers, because most of our work we do is through volunteers. We train people, and out of those we've trained, we recruit volunteers. Then we train more, and then we recruit volunteers. So a lot of our work is done through volunteers. So we had volunteers work with us. And I remember there was a time we had about 10 groups of volunteers going to different schools at a given time. And I want to say that over the years, we've gone to about 700 to 800 schools, secondary schools that is, and about 100 primary schools over the years. And then, as we worked with the students, we realized that actually the problems that students are facing come from their families, come from their parents, come from what is happening at home. And this was corroborated by teachers. Teachers would also say that, we don't know what's happening, in homes, because we get children, they're so hard to deal with because the problems originate from home. And so in 2006, we started what we call the Creative Parenting Course, CPC. We started that course, and I'm glad to report that hundreds of parents have been transformed, their marriages have been transformed, even when one spouse attends the training. And so in that training for parents, we had 3 objectives. One was to give them parenting skills, because we realized that actually parents didn't have good, positive parenting skills. And what we found out actually is that children are good people. It just depends on how they're handled. You don't handle them well, you get bad results. You handle them well, you get good results. It's just like a computer. They say, garbage in, garbage out. Good thing in, a good thing out. So that's how children are. So the first thing was to really help parents with positive parenting skills. Then the second thing was to give parents an opportunity to dialogue with fellow parents and to share experiences and to share challenges, because there's a saying that iron sharpens iron. So no one parent has it all, but his parent has a little, another one has a little, another one has a little. So when they share all together, they end up all of them being very good. And that's the second thing, to give that opportunity for parents to actually be able to share experiences, which has been good. And thirdly, we empowered parents with the ability to engage in advocacy, because they realize that, yes, you can be parenting your child well, but if the society where you're parenting the children is going haywire, then you are not parenting in a vacuum. Your children are going to be affected. And so we encourage parents to realize that they need to be concerned about the society in which they are parenting their children, to ensure that the society is conducive for children to be raised in a normal and ordinary way. So those are the 3 aims of the parenting course. And I'm glad to report that as a result of our parenting course, 3 people have written books on parenting. Can you imagine? I haven't yet written a book on parenting, but 3 of my students have written books on parenting, and I'm so proud of them. The other thing is that one of my students, especially the early student, is the principal or is the proprietor of one of the biggest schools in the nation. I think there was a time, I don't know about now, but before COVID, they had the biggest school in terms of student population. That was my student. And now, so this is something that I'm very, very proud of. I've also got out of that, we have parents now, or who have trained, who are now facilitators. They train other parents. They facilitate in conferences and in giving talks and speeches. So I'm really, really, really proud of those parents who actually have had things like that, who have been through our programs. And the beauty is, once parents have been empowered, it just works wonders with children. Children behave, children become responsible people, and so on. Now, some of the activities we've had are, 1, school outreaches. We go out to schools. That one, you call us, we go to school, and if you want your school not to be the same, give us a holiday. We come with a group of about 8 people. We start with a plenary in the morning where we tell the school why we are here and what we are going to do, and then we do the plenary. After the plenary, we split, depending on the population of the school, we split our team to different classes. And then after that, we come back, we go for lunch. And then we come back again for the plenary in the afternoon, where we do another plenary session. And then we have question and answer. And we usually insist that the teacher should be there so they hear how we answer the questions, so that when we leave, they can hold each other accountable. And then, after we finish at the end of the day, we end with what we call the BANG declaration. Now, BANG is the school program now. It used to be True Love Ways, but now we've rebranded it to BANG, Becoming a New Generation with Values, Morals, and Character. So then they recite it. And you know, it is wonderful. The beginning of it, the first paragraph says this, that we are becoming a new generation that has decided to live by our national motto, for God and my country. And then they go ahead, you know, to say what kind of youth they want to be, how they are going to be youth who are going to help our nation become a better nation, who are going to be solution and positive role models and positive change agents, rather than just going with the status quo and continue business as usual. Because we challenge them that, you see, it is your generation that's going to take Uganda to the next level, not our generation. Our generation has landed Uganda to where it is now, but your generation is the one that's going to take it higher. And I tell you, young people love it. So that's one of them. Then we also have a program in the university. Makerere, specifically, we have a program there, a BANG program there, Becoming a New Generation, where we are working to help raise the morals, raise the values, raise the character of the Makerere community. That involves students, that involves the staff, as well as the community around. That's something that we do. Then we also have, every year before COVID, we had a program, an event, which we term Abstinence Celebration Pride March. You know how our society today is really, you know, getting the children to get involved in sexual issues and things like that. We are giving them condoms, we are giving them all kinds of things, which really they don't need. They don't need those things. What children need are values, morals, and character. That will do the job. And so that's another thing that we do, and we have that. And before I tell you what we've achieved so far, is that we also run seminars, parenting seminars, marriage seminars. And for young people, we hold seminars on courtship. How do you court? How do you go through courtship? How do you go through a relationship that's going to lead to a happy marriage? We go through that, and we teach that as well. Now, one of the things we've achieved, especially through our advocacy, is that we have managed to get the government to lead in celebrating the International Day of Families. We never used to celebrate this. It began in 1994 by the UN. It was announced then, or installed, made possible then, but we were not celebrating. And so we went to the government, to the Ministry of Gender, and we encouraged them, if can the government do this. And I'm glad to report that as a result of that, the Ministry of Gender was able to establish a family desk. And out of that family desk, now they every year celebrate, they lead the nation in celebrating the International Day of Families, which comes on 15th of May every year. That's one achievement. The other one is that we have helped many, many young men and young women to get married properly. You know, usually people just, you know, grab a man or grab a woman, you know, and you go and, you know, start living together, you know, begin to have children. But I'm glad to report that from the sensitization we've done in schools, I cannot walk in Kampala more than 100 meters before I meet somebody that, oh, Mr. Langa, you will not remember me, but I was in Ntare, I was in Mwebe, I was in Toroga, I was in a school in northern Uganda, and you talk to us, and now I'm married, and now ABCD. I see that all the time. I see that all the time, and I'm really happy that what we've done has not gone to waste. And actually, I want to say that we've now reached, since we started, we've reached directly, face-to-face, over 600,000 people, over 600,000. And we have 50,000 people who have signed a commitment for sexual purity. You know, we have mountains of those in our stores. We have mountains of commitments that young people have made. And that is something that we are really, really happy about and very glad. Now, challenges have never ceased. Challenges are always there. And one of the challenges we've had is actually getting opportunities to reach out to the young people. Sometimes there's a lot of red tape to reach young people, to reach families, and so on. So that has been one of the challenges. Of course, the other one is finances. We actually have a strategy that can reach the whole nation. And that's something I will talk about on the way forward. But those are some of the challenges. And the other challenge is that shortage of volunteers. Okay, volunteers, because some of the volunteers are busy. You know, people are busy because they're getting worked up and and things like that. So it's hard to get them all the time. The other big problem we found out is homosexuality and lesbianism. Actually, that one we noticed when we started in 2002, because we have been involved in counseling children. We would just, it's negligible, really, negligible, because, there are challenges in society. There are those who are not doing the right thing, So we noticed as the 2000s continued, we realized the thing was increasing, because for us, we know what's happening in the lives of children because we go to school and the children open up to us. And we know things which parents don't know and even teachers don't know, because in the counseling room, they trust us and they tell us everything. So what I noticed as the 2000s continued, more and more cases, until we wondered, what's happening? And so personally, I took very keen interest on this matter, and I read, as I would travel, I'd read about this, do research on this matter. And I came to realize that the gay movement are doing a lot of things in Uganda, but Ugandans are not aware. Then, fortunately, 2009, somebody who was a former gay at that time came out of that movement, reformed at that time, and he let us know what is happening in that movement. That's when he told us that they are the ones actually recruiting children into homosexuality, and that they were well funded, and that they were trained, and they were trained to claim that I was born this way. He said, whenever they tell you, you must always say that you are born this way, this is who you are. They were trained that way. So that then explained why the cases of homosexuality was increasing as we went to schools. So something was actually driving it. And that's so at that time, that's when in 2009, we decided to do a conference. I did a 3-day conference on the issue of homosexuality to give people more information. And it was very, very helpful because people's eyes were then opened that actually this is not something which just happened naturally, but there is direct fuel. It is being fueled and being funded directly. Now, as a way forward, we have a 5-year plan to strengthen families countrywide. Because as I said at the beginning, you cannot bring transformation to anything without transforming the family first. So we have a program to strengthen families by strengthening fatherhood, okay? Because fathers need to go back to their God-given responsibilities. John Maxwell says that for anything, that everything rises or fails because of leadership. And so, since we have problems in our families today, families are breaking, families are divorcing, families are separating, children are being, really not looked after well, issues of drugs, issues of homosexuality, issues of moral decadence. I mean, we are facing so many things. So in order to fix all that, we need the family to be strengthened. Teenage pregnancies and the like, and all those things. So in order to strengthen families, we need to strengthen the man, okay? We need to strengthen the father, the husband. We need to strengthen them. Yes, we have many programs, or rather there are many programs that help the girl child, but we need something to strengthen them. So far we've now started with the Busoga sub-region. We did a Busoga family convocation in January this year, and it went very well. And so now we have trained resource people in Busoga, and those resource people are going to go and teach in Busoga about parenting, about marriage, about courtship, about how to become a new generation, developing values, morals, and character, all those kinds of things. Yeah, and that's the model that we're going to use, where we go to a region, have a family convocation in that region, where all the leaders in that area, that region, come together and dedicate their families before God, pray for their families, and then begin to teach, or rather to begin to open doors for teachings to take place in this teachings that are going to equip our families and are going to build our families. So that's what we are doing. We started with Busoga, and we are going to go to other regions as well. And so, in light of that, we want to appeal to everyone, because one of the things that happened, and I'm grateful for that, is that 2017 was made the year of the family by our spiritual leaders. Then after that, His Excellency, the President, also declared 2017 to be the year of the family. And after that, at the end of 2017, His Excellency extended the year of the family to go to for 3 more years, to cover 2018, 2019, and 2020. And what that meant was that those declarations were to mark the beginning of multi-year efforts to strengthen the family institution in our nation, okay? It's not a 1-year thing or a 3-year thing, it is a multi-year. So those are just to get the thing off the ground, to get the program off the ground. And those declarations by both the spiritual leaders and our political leaders was to start a multi-sectoral. Multi-sectoral means different sectors covering the state and non-state actors. That means it brings everyone together to work together towards building or strengthening our families. It's not something that only the government can do. It's not something that only the schools can do. We need collective effort. Or the religious leaders can do all by themselves. We need everyone. We need all of them to work together to fix this very important institution called the family. Because that family is so important that if the family goes, as the saying goes, that as the family goes, so goes the nation. Okay? We will have nothing to manage, we will have nothing to build, we have no nation to build if families fail. And therefore, I appeal to all stakeholders, I appeal to government, come on board. I appeal to religious leaders, religious, please come on board. All religions, come on board. I appeal to parents. Parents, please come on board. Let's work together to fix our family. I appeal to youth. Youth, please come, because you are the future. You are the future leaders. Come, let us work together. Youth, you have energy. You have and you can apply that energy in positive ways. Let's apply that energy in positive ways that are going to build our values, going to build our morals, going to build our character as a nation. If you look around the world today, huge civilizations are collapsing. Why are they collapsing? Because of the breaking and the destruction of marriage and the family. We see it. Fortunately, these days, there's with the social media and with the news outlets, we see it. It's happening before our eyes. So, let us not follow that direction. Let us not follow the people who are going to the ditch. I'm told that there's an African proverb that says, if somebody who is naked offers you a jacket, be very suspicious. In other words, friends, the Western world has failed in the area of family, has failed in the area of morality. There is nothing they can teach us in that area. So as Ugandans, let us work together, let us preserve our values, our culture, our morals, our beliefs, and let us move forward. Finally, I really want to thank our partners out there. Partners, this would not have been possible without you. Our supporters, those who pray for us, those who support us financially, those who support us morally, who encourage us, we are so grateful. And UBC, we are very, very, very thankful. I forgot to mention that for 4 years, between 2006 and 2009, UBC actually offered us a 1-hour program every Sunday. It was called Family Hour. And up to now, people talk to me about it. I've gone all over the country and people are like, oh, I've seen you on TV. I said, it was because of UBC, because you have a big network. And one time I even went up to the border with South Sudan, and I thought I'm crossing in a very small border I was driving. Someone said, Mr. Langa. It's because of UBC. So thank you so much, UBC. Incidentally, UBC, I've met people who have said, Mr. Langa, my marriage was broken, was finished, but the program I saw in UBC has saved my marriage. I've heard of others who said that when the UBC program would come, they would stop the whole house. Everybody go to the TV. Stop anything. Go to the TV and listen. So with that, I want to thank you very much, UBC, and our partners, for God and my country.
UBC, inspiring Uganda.
I remember the lockdown, when the streets were empty and our lives disrupted, when businesses closed